Hi, everybody. I am Eric. Welcome to Goshen Prepping. Welcome to my dojo. This is an appropriate place to talk about today's subject in which we're talking about, middle-aged, older, even elderly. What can you do to be able to make it so if somebody attacks you or to thwart an attack? It's something we're concerned about, certainly something we want to be able to be aware of. And what do we do about that? I have 4 techniques and strategies I'm going to give you. And for myself as a certified Krav Maga instructor, not to mention martial arts too, these are some of the things I teach my students, especially when I have, for example, my women's self-defense class. So what do? 4 things. Number 1, situational awareness. And people always talk about this, but it is so valuable. And there's so many things that are involved in situational awareness. I could literally make videos, a bunch of them, just about this subject alone. Simply put, you always need to be looking around to see where the trouble's at. I mean, first thing first, put your phone down. You cannot be out with your phone, even in your car. I mean, I like my car and my wife's car too. When you start driving, automatically locks the doors. That's a good thing. People can still break the windows, but it does give you a little bit of extra protection. But nevertheless, if you're sitting with your phone, which is like 99% of today's culture, is walking around with your phone, that is really, really bad news. Number 1, it makes it somebody could actually, sneak attack you. But secondly, you can't see what's going on. You literally may be walking right into a knife fight, for example, or somebody, robbing a store. Situational awareness is so vital. And it's not simply just seeing if there's somebody robbing the store, but I've talked about this on the channel many times, and trust me, from experience, you can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their face. When somebody's about to do something malicious, their eyes are darting around. They're very nervous. And you listen to your gut in these situations. You want to make sure you stay far away from this. Always observe everything. Always look before you step out in somewhere. Always be able to see what's happening in the situation. So that's easy, situational awareness. It's not easy to practice because it takes a lot of practice. It takes constant, habitual. You have to be a habit all the time doing this, but it's an easy thing to do. You need to work on it constantly because we're going to get into number 2. Number 2 is, it sounds like a no-brainer. Stay out of the dangerous areas in the first place. And I understand that today, a very safe place may become a dangerous place very quickly. And that's a fact. But you can start off by yourself by staying away from the dangerous areas in the first place. I mean, it's amazing. And that's where your gut feeling comes into place too. You ever had that before? And I mean, really, put it in the comments below where you're walking to a situation and you're like, oh no, there's something going on here. I should not be here. You may not know what. You can't put your finger on it, but you need to get out of there and get out of there quickly. Man, scary times. Okay, takes us to number 3. And now we find ourselves in a situation. Your situational awareness broke down. Look, even in my Krav Maga class, I tell my students, if you end up in a fight, you've already lost. Not necessarily lost the fight, but if you let somebody get close enough in that situation, you've already lost the battle because you want to make it so you never get that fight in the first place. And when it comes to fighting and martial arts and everything, that's counterintuitive. I train so I can fight if I need to, but no. For Krav Maga and especially self-defense, you want to make it so you're not in that fight in the first place. But you know what? Situational awareness broke down. You didn't do it. Number 2, maybe you ended up in a place you shouldn't be. And now you're being attacked. And I will tell this, by the way, this is a very interesting, kind of a morbid thing to say. Think about this. I would rather die in that situation right then and there than be taken away to some other location where you're going to be tortured and then die. We don't want to think about that. But do you want to be taken to an area in which, you may be there for days or weeks and they do whatever they want to with you? I'd rather put up a fight and die right there than let that happen. And especially if you're in a crowded place, simply just screaming and fighting and being combative is often enough. And that's where it talks about don't go off into situations, places you shouldn't go in the first place. But here's something for you. We're middle-aged. I mean, I'm a trained fighter. I really love to fight. Even today, we were fighting in our dojo here. I love it. And one of my students he's older than I am. I was like, oh, that was fun. I love this. And he was like, I can definitely tell. I get pumped up. I love it. I don't know something about it. Anyways. But the thing is, there's a good chance you're not a trained fighter. And I love the channels always saying, well, you need to become a trained fighter so you can give me a break. Not everybody is in that boat. Not everybody has the ability to become a trained fighter. Maybe you're older like me, maybe you're even older than me, and you're handicapped or have some problems. You're not going to become a trained fighter. Maybe you actually hit a point in your age, even if you don't have any type of handicap. Trying to revert back to your younger years to be able to actually fight is very difficult, if, even impossible. Are you going to overpower some 25-year-old guy? Odds are no. And you don't have to. Because number 3 is not about overpowering them. It's about outpacing them. Because studies are completely conclusive, exhaustive. There's like no ifs or ands or buts about this one, that when criminals look for a target, they look for an easy target. So not being an easy target, if you fight back, does that mean you're going to beat them? No, it's not about beating them. It's about making it so they just give up on you. And that is what you're going to be shooting for. Studies are conclusive that if they're trying to take you, grab you, do whatever they want to with you, and you fight back ferociously, everybody, your life depends on this. Do not give them a chance to do what they want, whatever they want to do. And you make it for 60 seconds, just 1 minute. Odds are they're going to say, you know what? You're not that easy target. I'm going to leave you alone. So listen, number 3, don't listen to the channels and the people who tell you need to become a fighter and even join Krav Maga. I think you should if you have that ability, but it's not about becoming the trained fighter. It's about making it so it's so hard for them, they give up on you and move on to somebody else. That is what all the studies show, and think about that. Well, how do you do that? Because you know what? Situational awareness, you watch out for them. Stay away from bad areas. Too late, they still got you. Number 4 comes into play, and this is probably the most important one. You need to have a weapon. But you don't need to have a weapon. You need to train with that weapon. You need to practice with that weapon. Because if you don't train and practice whatever that weapon is, people always say a pew-pew. That's not the end all, by the way, guys. I mean, I think it's a very vital tool to have, but it doesn't have to be just a pew-pew, okay? But you need to train and practice with it, because if not, guess what? That weapon now becomes their weapon, and your weapon is now going to be used on you. You need to realize that simply just taking that weapon and keep it in your pocket, keep it in your purse, keep it in your car is not a good idea. Even if it's just, ready for this, an amazing weapon. It's not an end all. There is no end all, by the way. Don't ever think that this thing's always going to end it. People get shot and still keep fighting. People get stabbed, still keep fighting. But one amazing weapon for you to keep is simply just pepper spray. The person may still keep on fighting, but if you hit them in the eyes, they're going to be literally trying to fight you blindly. It does work that well. It's really good stuff. Or, people say use bear spray. People say use hornet spray. I think walking around with a can of hornet or wasp spray is kind of a weird thing. But having pepper spray is a fantastic weapon. I think it's legal in every state. I don't know. Check with your state. There's always some states that's illegal. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. You can't just buy it, put it in your pocket, put it in your purse and say, I'm good now. It doesn't work that way. You need to practice with it. Don't spray it on yourself. I mean, you could to see what it feels like. In the military, we actually had to have the tear gas on us. It was an awful day. But it's good so you know what's happening. But I'm not saying you need to spray yourself, but be careful, because you need to practice opening it, taking it out, know what you do with the trigger, put it back, take it out, put the trigger. You can turn the trigger on the thing without actually spraying it, without pepper spraying everybody. Just don't spray yourself. It'll be awful. Okay? But don't just simply put it in your pocket, put it in your purse and say, okay, I'm good. I don't care what kind of weapon. You have. You need to practice and train with it. In my class for my self-defense, I teach numerous ways to take away a knife from someone, take away a pew-pew from someone, which is possible if most people don't know how to use them, so they get close to you. You can take it right out of their hands. But here's the thing. I also teach them the ways to use that weapon on them. You need to train and practice and drill. Just as with self-defense, you need to make it sometimes self-offense. You need to be able to do what you need to make it so you don't get attacked. So listen, there's so many different weapons. It's your choice. So many different things you choose from. I don't care what you choose right off the bat. Some older people like ourselves, or maybe even elderly, can't handle a pew-pew. There's different sizes, by the way, which you probably could. That's fine. Pick your weapon. Just like my martial artists. All my instructors in my school, I tell them, you need to pick a weapon. I don't care which weapon you pick, but you're going to pick that weapon and you're going to train and you're going to sleep with it and you're going to practice with it. And it's going to become your right hand. That's how it's always been. I mean, maybe you'll sleep with your pepper spray. I don't know. That's between you and your pepper spray. But either way, you need to have some kind of weapon and train and drill. But the first thing, guys, situational awareness. Don't get in that situation in the first place. Secondly, stay away from the bad areas. Third, you know what? If you do get attacked, do not give up. Don't let them take you away. You fight with every last breath you have. And then you need to have a weapon, whatever that weapon is, or a couple weapons you choose, and practice, train, and drill. All right, guys, keep safe out there. I'll keep making videos like this to help you out because you know what, especially as middle-aged and older people, elderly, it's difficult, because we're not as flexible. We don't have the cardio like we used to. I love it though. Love fighting. You can join a dojo like mine if you like, or and learn it too. You're never too old, in my opinion, to be able to keep going with this. Thanks for watching, everybody. As always, I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.